Hello again, I'm Daniel, and here at Guilty Feet because I've got no rhythm. And this is a roundup of the books that I read in the last week. Another good week of bits and pieces clearing up of my TBR. No new books coming in, so I've got a lot of books. That I had a huge haul of about 100 books I did when I went to London last August, so I'm still clearing out a lot of that, which is good that I'm getting to those. So this is what I've read, finished in the over the last week. I had Mr. Fox by Helen Oyeyemi. This was the third Oyeyemi book that I've read. This is, I guess, owes a debt to Angela Carter. There's a lot of the story of Bluebeard here and myths and fairy tales. It's sort of metafiction. It's about a novelist who's writing about a character, and the character talks to him about why he keeps killing all his female characters. It's some good stuff. I enjoyed that actually. It's in some ways short stories. I think some of them are actually written as short stories, but there is a narrative thread through the whole thing of Mr. Fox and his creation, Mary Fox, and his wife, and how they all react to each other. I don't know. I actually had a good look today, trying to think where I got this, and I thought I'd picked up secondhand. I know I definitely picked up secondhand from somewhere. I don't know where the cover price here was $7.99. I would not have paid that as a sort of secondhand backlisted book, which was it seems to me to have been unread. This is after I've read it. It's in pretty good shape, and I'm fairly low touch on books, but I don't know how much I paid for it. But I did find in it a little card for the Bristol Sexual Health Clinic, so that's handy if you're ever in Bristol. I'll keep that here. I feel bad if whoever had this book before me lost that when they needed it, but I've got it. After that, I read this thing, which is the second of these that I've read. This is a collection, Bad Machinery, originally based on a web. You can't even see me over it. That's just the size of it. Wait a second. That's the Oyeyemi book, and then this is the thing behind it. So it's originally a webcomic, which I guess explains the format. I love this. You can see the kind of thing there. Each one of these pages would have been a panel in a webcomic. The writer artist here is a guy called John Allison. I came to him because he writes this comic book series called Giant Days, and I've been collecting those collected editions. And then I looked up other stuff he did, and I saw these, and I bought this on eBay. And this one I paid £5 for. Is that right? Yeah, £5 altogether. I think this cost me, which is great because on the back there's a sticker saying $14.99, and then the cover price is $19.99. For £14.99 is the sticker, and the only press that people put this out originally for $20. So to pick this up for a £5, it's nice. And this was the second one I said. I've ordered the third one, found that on eBay as well, and I think there's 7 or 8 of these that I'm going to try and collect because they are super fun. I love this sort of crazy size of it, and they're funny, goofy. It's a story about pre-teens, 6 of them, boys and girls, and the way they interact with each other, the way they go on with school. This is a magic pencil and a strange dog and a plot and kidnap babies, and it's just goofy, it's funny, and what a treat. It's such a delicious artifact for the size of that book. So if I can collect all of these, that'll be great. After that, I continued a project that I've had going for a while, which is Ed McBain's 87th Precinct series, which he started writing, I think, in 1958, and was still writing them up until the end of his life in the 2005, something around about then. So this is, ready for this? This is number 40 in the series, and I've read 1 through 39 before that, and this is number 40. I have 41, 42, and 43 together in one volume, and I will, when I sit down to do those, I will read them all in one volume, because that's what I do when I get a collected edition. 40 books in, still just as good. If you like a series, these are the original police procedurals, although someone can tell me that actually there was another kind of police procedural that preceded McBain. But pretty much any cop show you've ever watched in the 70s and 80s, the format of the episodes, or the returning formats which you would have seen time and again, come from stuff that McBain was doing. So the whole concept of the bottle episode, there's one of these is a bottle episode where they're all stuck in the 87th precinct and there's a bomb about to go off. There's one where one of the cops is getting married, and there's some hoo-ha at the wedding, and it's everything you've ever seen before is here. But he's great on dialogue. He's great on actual police work. What it takes, something happens and who do you talk to, and then you go back to them, and then this one's lying to you, but that one's got a secret. He gets into everyone's mind. They're easily readable. I wolf this down in an afternoon, so I come back to these every now and then if I want to just boost my reading numbers, get something under your belt, gets through something. This was 220 pages, which is about standard for one of these, and they're just a delight. And happy to have got to number 40. This is already from 1987, so he started writing them in 1958. I've been reading these 3 or 4 a year for the last, number 4, maybe 10 years? No, probably must have been reading more than that. So I must have been reading 4 or 5 a year for the last 6-7 years. And I'll finish this up in the next 3 or 4 years, not in a rush, but they're great reads, and it's a nice project, one of many such reading projects that I have on the go at any one time. Ed McBain, Tricks. Tricks, why is it called Tricks? Because this is clever. Because there's someone who is preying on prostitutes, and so he's a trick. And then there is also a vanishing magician who does tricks. So Tricks. Yeah, the title is not as clever as the rest of the book, but still worthwhile. And then after that, another comic book. This is a beautiful hardback. This is the New 52 when they did the relaunch in about 2011. This is the first 7 issues of Detective Comics, which was written and drawn by Tony Daniel. I missed all these. Years ago I collected comics, and I haven't for many years. And this summer, so after the first lockdown, the early part of this year, I've been stuck here with nowhere to go, and I arranged to fly to London for a week during the pandemic, when not everyone felt good about flying, and I wanted to go in and see my mum for a week, and I flew in and spent a week isolated in her apartment. So I went from the airport to my mum's flat, stayed there for a week, and came back home afterwards. So I didn't see anybody or do anything, and I ordered a bunch of books that were waiting for me there, and also of these books I ordered a bunch of comic books and graphic novels collections. This is not a graphic novel, this is a collection of 7 comic books, but you can call them a graphic novel if you want. It's not written as a standalone graphic novel. And I bought these on eBay. So this one cost me, £6.75 with a cover price of $22.99. So £6.75 for 7 issues is under £1 an issue, which is what you would get in the bargain bins if you're buying the floppy comics, which I'm not. But these they're so fun to have a nice big hardback, and the artwork here is gorgeous. That's a sort of non-Batman thing over there, and then you get a big Batman spread and some Jokers and stuff like that. So yeah, great stuff. Story wasn't fabulous. I don't think I'm going to read the next volumes in this, but picking these up cheap, having them waiting for me when I got there, bring them home, and going through this, sort of keeping me vaguely up to date with where Batman is. Just a fun read. And that's after that, the next book which I've started, and I'm 50 pages in, or however many pages in, is the library book by Susan Orlean, which is non-fiction, and it's about the fire in the Los Angeles library, or at least the first part of the book is about that, and I think she uses that as a springboard to talk about, well, we'll see. But yeah, so far super entertaining. I love a book about books. I think a lot of bookish people do. I've started reading more. Sometimes you don't want to get into that eating your own tail kind of thing, where you read books that are about books but as I become sort of kinder to myself about what I read, reading a book about a book, if you love books, is fun. So I indulge myself every now and then. So this library book was a big hit last year. Susan Orlean was more famous for The Orchid Thief, which was turned to the movie adaptation with Nicolas Cage, which I never read and I never saw. So this is my first Susan Orlean, and yeah, loving it so far. And that's it. That is my wrap up for this week. Thank you for watching. Take care.